Good morning, students. Today I am going to continue your fifth chapter from your Vistas book, Should Wizard Hit Mommy, which is written by John Updike. In previous class, we read about the Jack, Joe, Wizard, and the wise owl, which are the main character, and Jack used to tell story to his little daughter Joe. Every story had a little variation from the basic tale, and every story had a little creature named Joe, a wise owl, and a wizard. Today, he narrated Joe the story of Roger Skunk who smelled very bad, and all the little creature of the forest kept run away from him. They neither gave him company nor played games with him. So he was very fed up and went to the wise owl, who advised him to go to the wizard. From here we are going to start the story. As Roger Skunk reached the wizard house and knocked the door, to make the sound effect of how the skunk knocked the door, Jack knocked the windowsill and Joe was thrilled. Jack continued that the old man with the white beard and a blue pointed hat came out. Then Jack made his favorite sound effect and continued that the wizard said Roger what he wanted, and he had a very bad body odor. Then to this Roger replied that he knew that he smelled bad and told him that all the other animals ran away from him. He also told the wizard that the wise owl had told him that you could help him. Then the old man replied that maybe he could and asked Roger Skunk to follow him inside and also asked him not to get so close. Then he replied that because he was a very old man and also a wizard, he did not require any cleaning lady. Then Joe again interrupted and asked that would the wizard die? To which again Jack replied that wizard never die. Then wizard started looking out for something and took out an old stick called the magic wand. He asked Roger what he wanted to smell like, and he replied that he wished to smell like roses. Joe was very happy because he wanted to smell like rose. Then Jack said the magic words in the voice of wizard. Then he related the face that his daughter made to that of his wife. She made such a face when she pretended to be enjoying a cocktail party. Then he continues that the whole house of the wizard was filled with the fragrance of roses. By mistake, he changed the name of animal to fish. Joe corrected him and he said that it was really silly on his part to call him a fish in place of skunk. Just then Jack got a bit annoyed with Joe's expression, and suddenly he heard some furniture rumbling downstairs. He realized that Claire shouldn't be move heavy things as they were going to have their third baby. Then the wizard tells Roger to go to the end of the lane and turn round 3 times, and when he would look in the magic wheel, he would find 3 more pennies. Then Roger did exactly what he told and got 3 extra pennies. Then he gave the money to Wizard and ran back to the wood where everybody gathered around him because he smelled so good. Then they all played a lot of games and enjoyed themselves. As it was getting dark, all the animals ran back to their mummies. So Joe had started getting bored with the story and was more interested in looking out of the window. She thought that the story was over. On the other hand, Jack did not like women who would take things for granted. He liked women who remained engrossed in his talks. Then he again continued the story, asking Joe to be little attentive to what he said. The mummy skunk asked that from where was that awful smell coming, to which Roger replied that it was him. He added that he smelled like roses. Mommy skunk asked Roger that who had made him smell like that, to which he replied that Wizard had done so. The mommy skunk got angry and ordered Roger to accompany her to the Wizard. Roger told his mom that all his little friends ran away from him if he smelled bad, to which his mom replied that she didn't care and that he smelled just the way a baby skunk should smell. His mom took out her umbrella and went to the Wizard's house. When the Wizard door opened and Mommy Skunk hit him on his head, right over the head. Then Jo started imagining her own story about how the Wizard would have hit the Mommy Skunk back and never changed Roger's skunk back. Her father told her that nothing of that sort of happened, and Wizard changed Roger's skunk back to normal and he did not smell of roses anymore. Another question was about to pop up in little Joe's mind, but Jack stopped her and told her that it was his story, and if she wanted him to tell her any more stories, then she should keep quiet. So Jo kept on looking at her father with a great surprise as she waited for the story to be continued. After some time, when Roger Skunk and his mom were going back home, they heard a woo-woo sound as his father arrived from Boston. Then all of them had lima beans, celery, liver, and mashed potatoes for the dinner and pie oh my for dessert. Later that night, when Roger Skunk was sleeping, Mom Skunk came back. She hugged him and told him that she smelled again like her baby skunk and she loved him a lot. With this, Jack ended the story, to which Jo again asked that did the other animals run away from Roger Skunk again, and Jack replied no, because they slowly got accustomed to the smell, so they did not feel like running away anymore. Then Jack told Jo that he wanted her to take a long nap and adjust the shade so that no light came in. He then went very softly to the door and acted as if Jo had slept, but when he turned and looked, she was staring at him and sitting on the top of the covers. Then He told her to go to the sleep as she was also disturbing her brother who was sleeping. Then she stood up and started bouncing softly on the springs. While jumping on the spring of the bed, she asked her father to tell her story the next day. That wizard took her magic stick and hit the mummy and chopped her plump arms. Then Jack explained to her that this was not what the story said. He told that the story gave us the message that the skunk loved his mama more than any of other animals in the woods, and that his mummy knew what was right for him and what was not. Then he was explaining Joe about the story. She started insisting that the next day he would have to tell her a story like the one she wanted. Then she started throwing tantrum as she had done many times earlier. But this time she was not laughing or joking. She was being a bit stubborn. Then Jack told her to be patient and sleep, and that he would see to it next day. He then asked her to stay on the bed and close the door. He then went downstairs and saw his wife painting the walls. She had opened the paint can, spread the newspaper, and was wearing an old shirt of his over her maternity dress. She was painting the chair rail. Suddenly, he again heard the footstep above and shouted that, "Did Johnny want a beating?" The sound of the footstep vanished. Then Jack's wife told him that it was a long story that he was telling to the Jew. To that he replied, "The poor kid." And as he was feeling very tired, he just sat and watched his wife do all the work. Then he started looking at the woodwork around him and started relating it to his life. He was looking at it and thinking that although both of them, Jack and Claire, were caught in a cage-like situation in their marriage, there was no solution to it. Neither did he want to talk to her, nor speak, nor touch her. So, children, through this story, writer just wanted to give us the message, which is very strong, that we must honor and respect what we have got naturally. We should not try to lose our identity and originality, and should accept it in the society for what we really are. I think you are able to understand. Thank you.